Welcome to Facebook for the Blind, your look at the downfall of Western civilization through the best memes we can find each week. Ladies and gentlemen, both and neither, welcome to that time of the week we like to celebrate Facebook for the Blind, a show for the visually and Facebook impaired. I'm your not-so-humble host, Eric, joined by my beautiful co-hosts, Andrew Teedy and Quiet Michael, and they're going to show you some funny memes after we do the depressing news. Today has been chock full of news. Ex-Trump executive Weisselberg has been sentenced to 5 months in jail. So that's kind of it. I mean, who thought anyone was ever going to go to jail? Really, you talk about it. Pretty fun. Landslides, sinkholes, and floodwaters are plaguing soggy California. Here we see a picture of a highway with a car in a hole down in the bottom of it. There seems to be a creek down in the hole. So anyway, after years of drought, they're now getting more water than they could possibly deal with. And all the experts on TV are saying, and it won't help. And I'm like, I don't understand. What could help a drought? I don't understand. Friends of the show, Brain and Diane, complained they had to pull over their cars because of hail. San Francisco had so much hail. This week saw January 8th in Brazil. That's right. The people that supported Bolsonaro, the criminal president who was not elected, stormed the Capitol. And the Brazilian police have reported arresting 1,500 protesters, which I find pretty amazing that they did that in just 2 days, and it took us 2 years to arrest 950. But, whatever. Maybe our cops need to take some notes from the Brazilian cops. Anyway, as everybody's already thinking, and best said by Brian Tyler Cohen, there would be no January 8th in Brazil without January 6th in the U.S. This is the modern Republican Party's legacy, empowering insurrectionists across the world. Yay!
I want to point out, I like Brian Tyler Cohen, friend of the show. Hey, Brian.
Hey, Brian.
What he said is true, but it's also just technically true. There would never be a January 8th anywhere if there wasn't a January 6th before that.
You are a dad.
USA.
Moving
How
on.
numbers work, fucking Brian.
The Atlantic, and if you're not reading The Atlantic, you are missing out, has a sponsored ad, and I'm going to go ahead and read this article and just read the little blurb here. But the United States is now facing a different kind of violence from people who will tell you that they are for liberty and freedom, but these are merely code words for personal grudges, racial and class resentments, and a generalized paranoia that dark forces are manipulating their lives. And I conferred with some conservatives today, and I can tell you that this is completely true. So, U.S. lawmakers are calling for Bolsonaro's extradition to Brazil because Bolsonaro fled Brazil and is now in a hospital in Florida. So we do have an extradition treaty with Brazil, and there are a lot of U.S. lawmakers calling for Bolsonaro's extradition. And I think if we do manage to get him extradited, we should put George Santos on that same flight. Send him right along. That would be awesomeness. President Biden, of course, condemned the assault on democracy. Not really a big news story or anything, but I'm pretty thrilled that a president condemned assaults on democracy. That's kind of a nice change of pace. Of course, the big news, here's another dumb one. Southwest Airlines, of course, canceled 7,500 flights. And David Sirota, friend of the show, David Sirota, likes to send out kudos to Mehdi Hassan for having the courage to echo Lever News and reporting on MSNBC. The Mehdi Hassan show reports that Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg vowed to investigate the Southwest Airlines meltdown that stranded thousands over the holidays. The thing is that the Lever News reports that multiple people, including friend of the show Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, among others, all contacted Pete Buttigieg and said, hey, you really need to do something about the airlines because they're going to lock up over the holidays and strand lots of passengers. And Pete decided that the best approach would be to wait until 7,000 flights got canceled and then go on TV and wave his finger and threaten that he might do something, but didn't act ahead of time. So kudos to Mehdi Hassan, friend of the show. George Santos, who's completely disgraced, decided not only to not resign because he's a fraud, but also decided in his first vote on the House floor to give a right-wing white power sign, while voting. So there he is, raising his hand and also giving the hand sign of white nationalism and white power on the floor of the House of Representatives. And again, he claimed. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Eric. Sorry. I thought you were done.
Well, he claims to be a gay, half-black, Jewish descendant of Holocaust survivors, although he's not. Yeah.
Well,
Nazis on the floor of the House.
Listen, this guy is a fucking dumpster fire. But
yeah,
I do want to point out that I don't think it's not in my lifetime have we ever seen a politician resign for being a fraud. In fact, we usually see them elected for being fraud. So on that point, like, listen, I'm going after this guy tonight. Don't get me wrong. He's a fucking dumpster fire. But like, being a fraud is the name of the game. He's just the wrong kind of fraud. That's the thing.
Yeah, but it's excessive. Like, the man lies about everything. He lied about votes that he had taken before Congress was sworn in, like before the House started. And it was like, dude, do you not know that we all know you're not working yet? He's like, oh, I voted on several impactful pieces of legislation. It's like, it was like Sean Spicer coming out and telling us it was the largest crowd size in history all over again. I was just like, oh, yeah. You're just going to lie about absolutely everything. It doesn't even matter. Facts are out the window. 7,000 nurses in New York City have gone on strike at 2 hospitals over wages and staffing conditions. So that'll be interesting to see how that's coming out. The House Republicans today voted to gut the Congressional Ethics Office and slash IRS funding. Oh, why would they want to gut the Congressional Ethics Office, guys? There have been a lot of stories about how we finally got the ex-president, I don't even want to say his name, the Tangerine Tornado that used to rule this place, how his tax returns were out there. But not many people actually did the in-depth analysis of what was in there. David K. Johnson, friend of the show, David K. Johnson, I've read his books. He's a great guy. If you're not following David K. Johnson, you are missing out. He said, well, he filed 65 Schedule Cs. 26 of them had zero revenue and hundreds of thousands of dollars in expenses. There were a handful of others where the income and the expenses exactly to the dollar equaled out, which is impossible to believe in anything but manipulation. So for those 26 returns where he was on notice that it's illegal to create a fictitious business and take deductions, he could easily be prosecuted either by the federal government or Alvin Bragg, the Manhattan District Attorney, for cheating on state taxes the same way. So let's see if anybody's got balls. What are the Democrats saying about these new rules package that passed, which, by the way, nobody knows. One rule was published. Nobody knows what smoky backroom deals were made. The Democrats denounced the legislation as a rules package for MAGA extremists who would favor wealthy corporations over workers, undermine congressional ethics standards, and lead to further restrictions on abortion services. And my question is, how can I make a bet on these guys putting forward legislation to cut Social Security? Because that's got to be the next thing on the bill, right? Hey, quick follow-up story. You remember that guy that hurled a hard seltzer can at Ted Cruz in the parade? Well, Joseph was initially charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and it wasn't even twisted tea, but a can of hard seltzer. But his lawyer successfully argued that his client was simply one of the many parade goers who was tossing drinks to the Astros players and parade participants. And thankfully, the grand jury agreed, deciding not to indict. Which is fabulous. As we know, of course, Kevin McCarthy was elected speaker after his 15th vote, but before that it was pretty contentious, including Representative Tim Burchett accusing redneck GOP colleague of drinking after a House floor fight. Here we see a picture of Burchett being restrained as he's going to approach Gates like he was going to slug him. And Democrats were indeed like drinking and and having popcorn on the floor because it was hilarious. People were like, oh, they're taking their 14th vote. And I was like, and I'm laughing for the 14th time. They're like, oh, like every time.
Who is this cute little guy with the bow tie though?
You know, I haven't looked him up. I do not know.
Daddy.
He is like absolutely my least favorite Keebler elf, but I gotta say he's very put together, but I have no idea who the fuck he is.
Anyway, so Representative Tim Burchett found himself in the middle of the altercation, had some words. He said, people shouldn't be drinking, especially when you're a redneck on the House floor.
Well, does he want Republicans in Congress or not?
Oh, my God. So many fun things going on there. Where'd it go? Oh, man. I got more stories here. So Kevin McCarthy failed to win the speakership repeatedly, and TD says, I just want to see the Schoolhouse Rock writer's room and the depressed writers chain smoking and pounding whiskey yelling, I don't know how to explain this shit either, Derry! There was so many other things here too. The ex-president went on a weird rambling speech where the twice impeached three-time election loser took a shot at American law enforcement, calling the cops who defended the Capitol during his failed insurrection 2 years ago horrible, horrible people. So that's interesting, right? That's pretty crazy. So funny. One of the funniest headlines that I saw this whole week, 2 men accidentally set themselves on fire trying to burn down an immigration center.
We did this last week, didn't we?
No, I set it out in the group chat, but I do want to.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. You're so right. We've just been talking about it all week.
We've been talking about
we were just ripping
because it's just so ridiculously funny. Did you guys watch this video?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, you can hear him screaming and stuff. But I mean, the real fun of this nonsense is Oh no! I'm not sharing that, am I? I'm sorry.
No, you're not.
That's great here too.
I'm so sorry. I didn't even notice that I wasn't sharing that. Okay, well. So yeah, the 2 guys set themselves on fire. It ignited quickly. And a worker said, the suspects dropped their phones as they fled the fire, and they're now in the hands of authorities. So I thought that was absolutely hilarious. In Facebook for the Blind news, look at this. We increased our views, our uploads, and our subs.
Right. We have 122 submissives.
Yep.
I was thinking roast beef sandwiches, dude.
Oh. Did you eat before the show? We told you to eat before the show.
Yeah, I had dinner.
There's a new Louisiana law that's forcing you to upload your ID to watch porn online. That's a fun law. George was like, well, time to bust out the old fake ID maker. And I thought I had this queued up, but I guess I didn't, so I'm going to have to Google it here. But man was accused, Wells Fargo fired an executive after he was accused of peeing on a fellow customer in business class.
What the fuck was that about? I mean, I didn't see it, but I saw the headline.
Yeah, the man was arrested completely drunk out of his mind, and Mishra was seen consuming excessive amounts of liquor and talking incoherently on the flight before eventually relieving himself on a fellow business class passenger. If convicted, he faces up to 3 years in prison. So if you're ever wondering, what would happen if you peed on somebody in business class, it's only 3 years. It's only 3 years, really. So if you don't, I mean, come on. Are you really living? I don't know. Hard to say.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, we always close out with a good animal story. So somebody filmed bats upside down, and it looks like a goth nightclub. Boy, does it ever. Look at this. Yeah, just pop around.
I've literally been to that club.
Yeah.
That constitutes pretty much the news for today, January 10th, 2023, for Facebook for the Blind. Oh, actually, there's one last thing I was going to show you, but it doesn't matter. But I did see the fireworks New Year's Eve over San Antonio, and if you haven't seen that, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. They do a big sweep of the city, and it's just fireworks over the whole place, and I think New Year's Eve in San Antonio is where I want to be next time. It's good times. All right, handing it off to my lovely co-host, Michael Labune, with some funny memes. By the way, hey, to the person that joined, hey, Jax. I don't know if I should say your name in the... Yeah, whatever. Nobody knows who you are.
I thought I was going to be late because I got off work late, but you guys said we're only on the news. So, worked out.
I know.
I just want to say that I've never been peed on by a Wells Fargo vice president, but I once got spat upon on the Santa Monica Promenade.
Whoa.
Yikes.
Who hawked a loogie at you?
You know, this old lady, she walked up to me and she said, "You're not allowed to smoke on the Santa Monica Promenade." And I said, "I'm standing outside." And she said, "It doesn't matter. It's the Santa Monica Promenade. You're not allowed to smoke here." And I was like, "Are you allowed to be a fucking busybody? Because you're being a busybody." And then she spit on me.
Wow.
And there was a cop that was right there, and the cop was like, "You're actually not allowed to smoke on the Santa Monica Promenade." And I was like, "This place is not punk rock at all." But this lady spit on me. I was like, "Is she allowed to spit on me?" And he was like, "No, she's definitely not allowed to spit on you." And so then I took a big drag from my cigarette and I blew smoke right in that old lady's wrinkled up face. And then she started getting really mad, and she said to the cop, "Is he allowed to blow smoke in my face?" And he said, "Yeah, actually, I think he can blow smoke in your face." And then he said, if he were allowed to smoke on the Santa Monica Promenade, which he's not allowed to smoke on the Santa Monica Promenade. So anyway, moving on. Here we go. History for the Witty 2.0 coming to you from my meme lord Mary. Says, "How strong do you like your coffee?" And 4Libs says, "I want it to show up on a drug test."
Correct. Agreed.
History for the Witty 2.0 has Adam and Eve handing an apple. Someone's handing an apple. Eve's handing an apple to Adam. Adam says, "Oh, look, the McRib is back." Eve says, "Stop calling me that." History for the Witty, foreboding, it says. And there's a picture of a hedgehog on a unicorn inflatable. And it says, "And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and its rider's name was Death." I'll have you know, there is a hedgehog that lives in this house. It is the meanest fucking critter I have ever been around in my entire life.
Oof.
Mean.
Really?
This is a picture of Post Malone, and he just looks kind of forlorn, kind of a Jake Cutler, sad look on his face. And it says, Post Malone's mustache looks like two capybaras kissing. And then below him is a picture of two capybaras kissing, and I'll be damned.
Fucking yeah.
It really does. It looks exactly okay. Moving on. Trash Can Paul, friend of the show, Trash Can Paul. We love you, Trash Can. Happy fucking New Year. He's got a picture of Dale Earnhardt and his famous car, number 3 Goodwrench. It says, "It's 2023. We doing it for Dale. Raise hell, praise Dale."
Oh man.
Fucking raise hell, praise Dale. Anyway. Fuck, I love Trash Can Paul. Magdalene Visaggio at Mags Visags says, "Imagine you're a bored, wayward teen. A stranger invites you to a rad hangout with video games and cigarettes. So they invite you to join their ninja cult. Free rad ninja costume, right?
Yeah.
Well, so you go out on your first mission and you get your ass beat by a giant turtle man." Anyway, this is hearing the other side of the Foot Clan. Here's a picture of, what's this guy's name? Santos? So he says.
Yeah.
And he's talking to Marjorie Taylor Greene, and he looks impressed with himself, and she looks like she is looking for literally anyone else to talk to. and it says, George Santos is saying, "Hey girl, I'm Tom Brady." I got about 3 more memes this round. History for the Witty's back. It says 2022 was wild since it was the year of the tiger. I'm sure 2023 will be much more tame since it's the year of the rabbit. And then it says the rabbit, and it's a picture of that fucked up rabbit from Quest for the Holy Grail.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
This is a meme coming to us from Memes, friend of the show, Memes. There would literally not be a show without memes. And it's Squidward looking all sweaty. And it says, when you let the girl decide where she wants to eat and the menus don't have a price next to the food, and Squidward's all sweaty and it says, sweats and poor. This is just a picture of a man lounging on a pillow on the floor next to a space heater, pointing a gun at the camera, and he's smiling. And it says, me protecting my energy. And my last meme for round one, the wholesome round, Beans After Dark at Good Bean Alt. Says, you telling me Julius Caesar, who has been dead for well over 70 years, made this salad. And my favorite comment is Liz, who says, technically you aren't wrong with that number, but I just hate it. For well over 70 years. All right,
Nice.
TD, let's see what you got.
Okay. Hey everybody, it's time for TD's often imitated, never duplicated, world famous short round one. Also known as the wholesome round here on Facebook for the blind.
Kicking it off.
Okay. Kicking it off, friend of the show, friend of the universe, Jason Jester. He posts a picture of it's a poker table, and around it is a ladder, a cell phone, and a folding chair. Ladder says I raise, phone says I call, chair says I fold, and then below that is a black object that kind of resembles a Gothic Christmas tree, but you know that thing's insertable. And that
That's a
just
butt
says,
plug.
I'm all in.
It's a butt plug.
Yeah, it's a butt plug.
I like
All
poker,
in.
so I thought that was funny.
That's hilarious.
Okay, next up, we got friend of the show, Blunts and Bongs. Got a picture of a guy raising up his hand to grab his sunglasses. In the next frame, it looks like he just had a profound truth thrust upon him. And it says, if you smoke, you will get high. If you read a book, you will get educated. But if you do both, you'll get highly educated.
Whoa.
Whoa.
This guy just cracked the
right?
code.
Mind blown.
That's
All
awesome.
right, next up on the short round one, we got the Skeptic posted a picture of a church sign, says masturbation is Satan's typewriter. And then below it, we have a cute little otter poking his head out of some snow, and it says, so you're telling me I'm an author? I
you been
wrote
doing?
the Iliad and the Odyssey, my friend.
Banging out on my typewriter all day long.
If it's Satan's typewriter, then Satan's the author. You're still the typewriter, right? Anyway, sorry.
Then my novel didn't happen to me; it happened through me.
Whoa.
Dude, did you just get highly educated?
Oh, very much so. Very much so. I love you, Laboon.
Wow.
Love you too, buddy.
Moving on. Bustov just says please, and it just says I want to fuck and feel appreciated for my memes. I felt that.
Nice.
Right here, behind the scar.
Very done. Very well.
Next up, we have Granny's Offer Meds. Front of the show, Granny's Offer Meds. Got a picture of Grogu or Baby Yoda in a car, probably some mid-sized piece of shit. Just, smiling, big old eyeballs, and just says, I hope, it says, me driving to work, I hope I'm nice today. Every fucking day. And I'm customer service. Moving on. Funny stuff. Front of the show, funny stuff. Post. It's a picture of a squirrel. And it just says, when you're mentally preparing yourself for a cold toilet seat and the squirrel is like all bent over and got his arms out and his little mouth open, like, ah, here we go. And yeah, it's cold, so I get that.
Wow.
I've gone, in a porta potty when it's 0 degrees. It's cold.
Oh man, thank you for taking me there.
Sorry, bro.
I just puckered.
Okay, last one for round one here. Deborah M. She posted a picture of a bunch of styrofoam cups, plastic spoons, paper plates, stuff like that. And it says, some people call this the struggle. I call it fuck them dishes. I feel this.
I like to have a lot of disposable stuff around for when I entertain my environmental friends.
Yeah. Get like the old school styrofoam burger containers from McDonald's and say, here, look at this.
Yeah, actually, last time Nan came over, I was like, you guys want styrofoam cups? Just to get under her skin. Because she's like my sister. All right. Round one, the ostensibly wholesome round, a registered trademark part of Facebook for the Blind. Kicking it off with some Christmas leftovers. Here we see the reindeers in their locker room, apparently, at the North Pole. And we see one of the reindeers. It says, he's reading a text and it says, "Dear Rudolph, we'd like you to be a contestant on Dancing with the Stars." And another reindeer saying, "Cool." Another one saying, "Awesome." And we see Dancer looking over his shoulder, just mad. I liked it. This is an old one, but a goodie from last year in Chicago. They had the lights on the buildings to spell out, and it just says year. Not happy new, just year. And I gotta tell you, the comments on this were like, "Oh yeah, I feel you, building. Yeah, totally." Yeah, it technically is year. Moving on, more Christmas leftovers. Breaking news, man invents fictional scenario, then gets angry about it. And if you're not following breaking news, man invents fictional scenario and then gets angry about it, it's okay. There's a lot every day. This particular one is Mary Twigsmas at Not Pixie Tit, who says, "I'm employed at Starbucks and we live in hell. The word Christmas is banned and we're only allowed to say happy holidays. My coworker asked a child what Santa would bring her and a manager overheard. They took him outside and shot him in the head." They fucking shot him in the head. Yeah. Woo! Love it. All right. Moving on. Friend of the show, Brett Druck. If you're not following Brett Druck, you are missing out. Says, "Pickup lines don't work for me. So if I'm going to say something to a stranger, I like to make it confusing and let them wrestle with what I meant by, you're hotter than you look."
Good.
We'll be thinking about that one after the show. Moving on. Fans of Andor. Any fans of Andor in the house? It's a great show. Absolutely like it. And it just
It's on the
says,
list.
oh my God, I enjoyed it. I may have enjoyed that. I've enjoyed that more than anything but The Mandalorian. Like The Mandalorian and Andor are the two best Star Wars parts of the franchise, in my humble opinion. If these two weirdo characters from Andor got married, what would their wedding reception be like? And they're both very strange characters. And just the best answer is Cash Bar. I like him. I don't know what to say about it. Victims of Psychedelic Class Warfare and MK Ultra Shitposting Memorial Fund posts. And if you're not following Victims of Psychedelic Class Warfare and MK Ultra Shitposting Memorial Fund, where are you getting your MK Ultra shitposting? They say, passing along, Bridget Gabriel, who says, "I'll take conservative, freedom-loving Hollywood any day. James Woods, John Voight, Christy Swanson, Gina Carano, Elizabeth Hasselbeck, Kevin Sorbo, Tim Allen, Tom Selleck, Gene Simmons, Scott Baio, a lot, Ted Nugent, etc." And Steve replies, "Better buy a VHS player then."
That's fucking true.
Which is a pretty solid piece of advice there.
Yeah, no shit.
Friend of the show, Chuck, passes along Jeremy Kahn, who says, remember, if your flight gets canceled, most airports have a secret fleet of backup planes with lots of seats, but they're only available if you're really mean enough to low-level employees. Hot tip. Life hack. This is a 6-panel cartoon that says the circle of AI life. It says humanity researches AI. Humanity perfects AI. AI perfects itself. AI enslaves humanity. And I like there's pictures of pyramids. The Great Pyramids of Giza. AI enslaves humanity. Solar flare disables AI. Final panel. Humanity worships sun god. I know it's silly, but my God, are your feeds flooded with all of the things that AIs can do? Because I want to talk about it after the show. It's concerning. All right, moving on. Facebook for the blind. FB4tB, a weekly memecast. And if you're not following FB4tB, a weekly memecast, how do you get your FB4tB? Question mark. Michelle at Michelle D. Bell says, one of my first graders lost his mom 2 years ago, as did I. And on Wednesday, he gave me a handwritten card saying both our moms are angels together. Through tears, I tell him I'm having trouble reading it. He says to me, just sound it out. No. Is the most wholesome thing you're going to hear tonight right there.
But also, bravo, future smartass.
I know, right? You know, and I hear it with total sincerity. I don't hear any of the sarcasm. It's just
it's sweet.
Oh, it's so sweet. It's just so sweet. All right, moving on. As above, so below posts a quote from Arthur Schopenhauer, who says, there are two kinds of people in this world. Avoid both of them. Wow, Schopenhauer. That's pretty wise. I got 4 or 5 more left here. Friend of the show, Kate, passes along her Sunday thoughts from sassy seminary student at Leah B. Sassy. Says, new rule, I'm telling all boys who say men don't cry that they're committing a Christological heresy. Says, and we see a chat here. It says, I'm a man, I don't cry. And the reply is, Jesus wept. You're saying Jesus wasn't fully a man? Huh. Interesting. I also like committing a Christological heresy, which I don't know if I've ever seen the word Christological in my life. It's pretty impressive, really. All right.
Oh, I've written that word many times.
Well, you know, next time I'm going to spray paint something, maybe I'll use that. I don't know. All right, I got 4 or 5 more. Throw it back to you, Michael. This is just a toilet meadow because it's an organic seat cover. It's like a Chia Pet, except it's a toilet seat. I think this is a legit product. I don't even think this is fake. It says it grows up to 1 inch in under a week, and we see a toilet seat covered in grass. It says box contains 6 pre-seated seat covers. And my friend Joe says, tricky but absorbent for those with aiming issues. I just think it's gross, but wow. Okay.
When did you have to mow it?
Yeah, you know, I think there's 6 of them because I think it just gets a little long and ungainly, and you just pitch it and put another one down. But you know, you're right. I don't know. You know, now I mean, if you toss a ring like that out your window onto a neighbor's lawn, they're gonna know who did it. The guy was just seeding his lawn. Friend of the show and one of the earliest founders of Facebook for the Blind, Matt Brown, says, nothing really lets you know where you're at in the universe like dropping a brand new roll of toilet paper in the toilet. I was like, dang. All right, I got about 3 more here. Friend of the show, Renee. Hey, Renee. Thanks for all the cards and letters. Thanks for coming to the show, Renee. Post Robin Harwood Bowling, who says, how it feels when I'm telling a story about something that happened in my 20s and some grown-ass person next to me says, oh, that's the year I was born. And it's a kitten dressed in like a bonnet sitting at like a tea, playing tea time or whatever. It just says, I'm wearing pantaloons. That's how it feels. That's how it feels. This next one's from friend of the show, Kristen. Kristen, thank you so much. Thank you. We really appreciate your stuff. posts pictures of those big blue vinyl IKEA bags, and they are full of bones. That's clearly a femur on top. And it says, headline says, Swedish woman finds IKEA bags filled with 80 human skeletons. And the blog of mystery replies, and of course they come in like a million pieces you have to put together yourself.
2 little fucking Allen wrenches.
Oh, I hate those things.
All right, my final one for Act 1, the wholesome round. Friend of the show, MacGyver at the Andrew Nadu says, can't believe how much time my parents spent teaching me what sounds barnyard animals make. I have almost never needed that as an adult. All right. Wrapping it up and handing it back to you, Mr. Quiet.
My son is my 4-year-old son is under the impression that I know, like, because I know what so many like animal sounds are.
Right.
He'll just be like, ha, 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 what's a giraffe say? And I'm like, I don't fucking know. I have no idea what the fuck giraffe says. Never talked to a giraffe, son.
You got to play him a copy of What Does the Fox Say?
Oh, please. He knows it. Jabuki at Jabuki says, your clown name is your first name plus your last name. This is a picture of the, like, I don't know, like the scruffy guy wearing a beanie, and then like the preppy looking girl. The scruffy guy smoking a cigarette says, thanks for fixing my mental health. And the preppy girl says, I literally just let you suck my titties. Gauntlet Queen, friend of the show, Gauntlet Queen, says, heartbreaking. Poor girl has to get out of the soft, warm bed, even though she is so comfy. Heartbreaking news, everybody. The Philosopher shirt, this is for a very select few nerds out there, has a picture of Thomas the Engine, and it says, Wittgenstein after finishing Tractatus. It was time for Wittgenstein to leave. He had solved everything. Anyway, moving on. This is a little thing that happened this week. Vanderbilt new volleyball coach. They posted at Vanderbilt Athletics posted a video of him setting up his new office, and the first thing he does is he puts up a picture of him and his husband. And this fucking guy, George, says, my husband and I, good grief. So I replied, all the best ones are taken.
Oh, hilarious.
And I want to point out that got 2 likes. My comment got 2 little likes, one of which the fucking guy I was making fun of.
Dude, he's into it.
Anyway.
Humiliation,
History
he's
for
into
the
it.
witty. History for the witty 2.0. Odysseus says, we now set out on our odyssey. Sailor, raising hand. What's an odyssey? Odysseus, a long journey named after the only survivor. Sailor, oh, okay, wait, what? Oh, I love this. This is from Feisty Soul Tribe. The group says, at Lucky_leftover says, my daughter said, Daddy, we are not friends with Brooklyn because she said I dress weird. No questions asked. Now I got beef with a 4-year-old named Brooklyn and her father. I don't make the rules to this gang shit. I just play my role. That is what it's like. Oh, Feminist News has a picture of Kevin McCarthy sitting on a toilet, and he's holding a pregnancy test, and he looks sad. And then you see that on the pregnancy test, and so many discarded ones below it, it just says not speaker. Chicks on the left have this is from the old the Bill. What's this from? Schoolhouse Rock. The Bill's talking to the kid, and it says, "There's no song to explain this shit. It was a fucking circus in the house this week." My last one for this round is a quote, a direct quote. It says, "Quote: We never had this kind of chaos when I was speaker." End quote. George Santos. That's right. George Santos says, "We never had this kind of chaos when I was speaker." And over to you, TD, for round 2.
Oh, he just needs to shut up.
Oh man, resign. Get extradited to Brazil. That's what I want.
There you go. Okay, kicking off round 2 here. Isabel eats easy Mexican inspired recipes, friend of the show. just posted a picture. It says, when you want to burn your tongue 25 individual times, and it's just a big pile of pizza bites.
Nice.
No shit. How is the last one just as hot as the first one?
Yeah.
Right? But still
How-
kind of cold at the same time.
Yeah. How can one explode while another one still has ice inside? Because
But
there's always
good. It is always good when you get the ice one right after one just like erupted in your mouth and you have like Freddy Krueger burns in the inside of your face.
I do got to tell you, this reminds me when I was about 2 years old, I constantly would pester my mom with what is a Scooby snack? Because it seemed to make people do really crazy stuff. I said, what is a Scooby snack? It's making Shaggy do such weird things. And she's like, I don't know. I think it's just made up, which I didn't understand. I was like, no, obviously a Scooby snack is a real thing. So what is it? And then I found Gino's Pizza Rolls and I was like, oh.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, I'd go into a haunted house.
You are white. Okay. Next up we got Just Mike. He posted a picture of a Billy Idol looking very Billy Idol. And it just says, "The nice day for a light sweater. Nice day for a cardigan." I should never sing.
I would have done that for you. Meme karaoke.
Yeah, there you go. I thought it was funny. Okay, moving on. Okay, I'm redeeming myself. Last week I had a wrestling meme and I dropped the ball with it. So this week I'll be very descriptive. It just says The Rock's wife drops a glass, and here we have Dwayne The Rock Johnson having like the prototypical Vietnam flashback with all the helicopters and shit. But also it's just scattered pictures of Stone Cold Steve Austin giving him the patented Stone Cold Stunner, thus whooping The Rock's ass. And if for those of you who don't know, the dropping glass reference is that was Stone Cold Steve music. It started with a glass breaking. If you aren't a wrestling fan, I'm sorry. If you're a wrestling fan, that was funny as shit.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Okay,
right.
moving on. Yeah. Shut the bed on
I
that
didn't
one.
know.
There,
I wasn't a wrestling fan back then. I was. I just was WCW only.
Here we got Lizzie. She posts a picture. It says, "My brain waiting for me to get in bed so it can start terrorizing me." And it's just Peter Griffin from Family Guy standing back in the shadows, eyes squinted in deep concentration, taking a long drag off a cigarette.
Nice.
I feel this.
It's ominous.
Dude, spooky.
Nice.
Okay, next up, once again, we got friend of the show, Jason Jester. He says, "Hey, if you're not doing anything, imagine the sound of someone walking in these." And it's a picture of a high heel swimming flipper hybrid from hell. And yeah, the flop click that those would make, that no bueno.
Oh, that would be a weird sound.
Right? Friend of the show, Jason Jester, again, post a picture of a very attractive young blonde woman in a very elegant, like almost like ancient Greece style dress. She's sitting bareback on a horse, and it just says, "Horses get farted on more than any other animal." And that's not wrong.
Interesting.
But we can work to change it.
I think we should fart on more animals. All right, moving on. We got, once again, the third time in a row this round, Jason Jester post a picture of a hippopotamus and then like a night vision camera with like a bunch of grass hanging out of his mouth. And it just says, "POV, you catch me eating shredded cheese at 3 a.m. And of course, Jester said, "It's low carb."
Nice.
I feel that. All right. Next up, we got Killer Queen. Says, "How do I teach my body that my fight or flight response is supposed to be for life or death situations, not answering an email? Preach, sister, preach."
Nice.
Okay. Okay, this is the last one I got for this round. Alternative Disney. I love you guys. Friend of the show, Alternative Disney. It's a picture of, Belle and Beast, Beauty and the Beast, the iconic scene in the ballroom. They got the dress and the suit, they're dancing, looking very lovely together. But just as fact, Belle did not know the Beast could turn into a human. She was fully prepared to bang him as is. Beauty and the Beast, teaching us about Stockholm Syndrome and bestiality for 30 years.
Nice. Oh my God.
Such a weird fucking oversight in this story, man. Like,
yeah. Thanks for taking us there.
Hey, man. It's what we do.
All right.
We're not afraid to cross that line, Sizemore.
Hey, you never know what you're gonna get with TD's number 2.
That's
That's
true.
right. TD's number 2. It's dangerous, man.
My mother said that TD was like a box of chocolates.
Your mother taught you about TDs?
A lot of people's moms talk about TD.
Oh, you guys are hilarious. All right, gonna move on here, and now I got a couple New Year's Eve leftovers. This is a New Year's Eve resolution generator, which I think is absolutely fantastic. You could pick anything from any of the columns and string them all together. For example, I'm just gonna go diagonal. Stop sobbing when tweeting about Pilates.
That's good.
Avoid quoting ABBA when complaining about Civil War reenactments.
Okay.
Try freestyle rapping when complaining about Pilates. Anyway.
Keep shouting loudly at anything.
The jokes write themselves, folks, right in front of you. Good stuff. All right, moving on. Kevin Sorbo, he's always dumb. Conservatives, this is in conservatives making things up, then getting mad about it, which you'll notice that I am subscribed to a lot of these groups. And I got to tell you, really, be cautious because there's so much. Conservatives making things up, then getting mad about it. Repost Kevin Sorbo at K Sorbs, who says, my school had gym class. 2022 schools have sex toys for kindergartners. And top comment, Isabella says, are these sex toys here in the room with us? What the shit, Sorbo?
I'll admit it. I love that Hercules show back in the day, man.
I liked Xena.
Well, yeah.
I liked both.
I was a teenage boy,
Shit out of,
sir. I love that show.
Surprising nobody. I was fucking into both of those shows.
Sure. Yeah. You heard it here first. Labune's into both.
Nobody heard it here first.
I knew it.
Moving on. My mom, I heard Tony from your class was caught with drugs. Be careful of people like that. There's a picture of a smiling guy with a mustache and says, me, who sold the drugs to Tony. I love it. Could have put it in the wholesome round. Moving on. Friend of the show, Marco. Marco says, today cost-cutting tip during these hard times. And he's reposted a thing that says, what's the cheapest shit y'all ever did? One time I went and got a rental car of my exact make and model, manually swapped all 4 tires from my car to the rental, then took it back. Had a whole new set of tires for about $75.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Dude, so many comments on this. People are like, you could do that.
Yeah.
There was a comic one time says, I have found a resale shop in my neighborhood that sells white shirts for $1. He says, so I just donate all my white shirts and get them dry cleaned and buy them back. I was like, wow, you could do that. All right, moving on. Friend of the show, Eric Sizemore. Oh, that's me. Repost Vlad from Feminist News. Feminist News reposts Vlad, and it says, Life of an Alpha Male, the movie. You're cracking jokes on Twitter. One day you're cracking jokes on Twitter with Greta Thunberg, and tomorrow you're in handcuffs, and it's Andrew Tate. And if you haven't heard, Andrew Tate's a piece of shit. And there were a lot of jokes and memes about him, like this one from Mr. Sunflower Enthusiast Grift, who says, Andrew Tate, after getting publicly owned by a teenager, this is the worst day of my life. And then Jerry's Pizza is as played by Homer Simpson to Bart Simpson saying, the worst day of your life so far. Romanian jail, no joke as I understand it. This is a picture of a guy freaking out. He's got his eyes wide open, eyebrows straight up, mouth open in the shape of an O, hands behind his head going, oh, and it says, Tate fans, when they realized human trafficking and rape are actual crimes. Fanboy, simpy boy. All right, there we go. Moving on. Here's a picture of Andrew Tate, and he is looking into a mirror, and he is pointing a finger at the Andrew Tate in the mirror, pointing a finger back at him. And the Fellowship of Memes has captioned this. Gollum says, right, Andrew, you can do this. She is just a teenager. You need to come back with a great retort and video it. You need to look alpha as fuck in the video, perhaps like a cigar. Yeah, a cigar. That's fucking macho. Come on, Andrew, your alpha brand depends on this. In the corner is little Gollum. Yes, yes. Yeah, totally. All right, moving on. Tate. This is just a picture of Greta Thunberg sort of waving, sort of in one of those Mesa scenes, like from the Coyote and the Roadrunner.
Yeah.
And she's waving, kind of going, meep, meep. And Andrew Tate in a bathrobe and slippers with some Jerry's Pizza in hand is going off the edge, and it says, that's all, Tate. That's all, folks. This is a 3-panel that I believe is referencing Game of Thrones. We have Tate's head on a Game of Thrones character saying, my Bugatti has an 8-liter quad turbo, and then his head is removed bloodily. And Greta Thunberg is apparently playing the queen, and she says, he can keep his cars. Never even saw the show. I think that's hilarious. This next one's from friend of the show, Cody Woods. And if you're not following Cody Woods, you are missing out. It says, I have so many Andrew Tate jokes that I want to do tonight, but I'm in Kansas City and it's still 2018 here. Got about 2 more for round 2. Your meme has now been collectivized and redistributed. Gratitude, comrade, has posted this saying, oh, Andrew, bless your soul, child. Andrew Tate posts, I don't sleep with vaccinated women. And Steph Jane 0989 says, yay, the vaccines work. This next one is a kid screaming with a little toy guitar, and it says, and this next song is called Stop Eating My Fruit Snacks After You Bang My Mom. And that wraps up a medium-sized, completely average round 2.
As a healthy round 2. Moving on. Penultimate round 3. Marginal Mennonite Society says, me reluctantly participating in the system so I won't starve. And you see a very disgruntled cat. Just somebody shaking his hand. He's just a very, very pissed off little kitten.
That is like Grumpy Kitten. Like Grumpy Cat, but Grumpy Kitten. They look
yeah,
weird.
This is a Grumpy Kitten is our favorite kitten. This is a picture of an old white lady, and she's looking at white Jesus and a bunch of white angels behind him, and Jesus has his arms extended, and he says, sorry, Bonnie, no sluts in heaven.
Oh.
She's just so old. Trash Can Paul, friend of the show, Trash Can Paul. Listen, I don't know if I'm going to explain this or not. Hopefully you guys just know what it's about. It's 2 panels. I think this is from the show The Office. And the first one is the panel of the guy who's kind of supposed to be good looking and he likes the receptionist. And he's looking at a computer and he looks a little concerned. And then the subtitles say jar breaks. And then the next panel, he's looking directly into the camera and he looks very disturbed. Anybody know what this is about? I'll give you a hint. It's about a mason jar. Nobody? Don't Google it. This is a picture of Maui, and this is what I have to say to that previous meme, and it's just, what can I say except delete this? Maui holding a pistol.
Nice.
This is a picture of Dyson. Dyson vacuum cleaner, and it says, "I'm in the ER. I don't want to bore you with the details, but the Dyson ball cleaner is a dangerously misleading product name." This is a picture of this guy. I do not know this guy's name. He's an actor. He was a Bond villain who used to leak blood. And okay,
Wow.
all right. This guy's coming out with a European actor named. Okay, shit. It says real motherfuckers wake up to batteries sufficiently charged as they only notification.
Nice.
Here's a picture of Bart Simpson driving with his sunglasses on at night, and it says, "Me driving, knowing I'm 1,000 miles over on my oil change, need 2 wheel bearings, and have the radio blasting to cover the interior rattles." That is me and my little Ford Fiesta. The Laughing Librarian
Hey.
says they're reposting the Language Nerds, which feels a little incestuous. And says, "In just a moment, those kids are going to learn so many new words." And when you look down there, you see, what's the game they're playing? Is this backgammon? Yeah, I think this is backgammon. And it's some old men playing backgammon. And there's a soccer ball that is just about to land on this backgammon table. And all these old men are very invested in what's happening in this game. So, yeah, they're going to learn some new curse words. Now, I got 2 more for this round. History for the Witty. Retweets Rohita Kadambi, who says, "The evangelical girls in my class who weren't allowed to read Harry Potter because it had witchcraft now think they can cure measles with essential oils." Who's in potions class now, Graceland? And my last meme for this round, my penultimate round, leaving only my post with the most. This is Katie, why don't you go ahead and describe what you see for me?
I hate you, Levion. It is a skinny blonde man with a short beard. He is wearing a white t-shirt and blue shorts. He is looking in the oven through the window. And he's on the floor. That's all I got, man.
He's doing the splits. I want to point out that he is doing the splits on the floor, leaning in, looking. His back is arched. His ass is facing the camera. And the headline says, "How men who don't let Jesus Christ inside of them check the oven." I want to say that meme was sent to me by 3 people in the same day this week. 3 people sent me the same fucking meme.
Labune, do you think they're trying to tell you something?
They had theological questions, is all. Moving on to you, T, round 3.
All right, here we go. Round 3. Kicking it off, front of the show, a friend of mine, Jason Crowley, he reposts SpongeBob SquarePants memes. And it's just a picture of Plankton looking kind of forlorn, shrugging his little arms, and it just says, "Me, can I get an ice cream? McDonald's employee. Okay, what flavor? Me." And it's that picture of Plankton going, "I don't know. I never thought I'd get this far." The machines are always broke.
Like the shakes, yeah.
Nice. Next up in round 3, friend of the show, Jason Jester once again. That says, "By the time you realize my worth, I'll already be making weenie-olies for someone else, and it is just 2 hot dogs in the bun, smothered in Chef Boyardee ravioli." Weenie-olies. I'm not gonna lie, that looks bomb right now. Okay, that looks good as hell.
I'm surprised you didn't make those on your show.
Coming soon, Baking Will Bake Munchies edition.
Nice. Sign me up for your newsletter. I find your ideas intriguing.
Friend of the show, Stoner Lad, says, "I love being in the house, man. The crime rate low in here, weed legal."
Oh my God. That's freaking hilarious.
Deborah M, once again, friend of the show. Another SpongeBob meme. We got a fish dressed up as a doctor with a shit-eating grin, smiling, holding his hand out. And it just says doctors after their 15-minute long appointments to solve nothing and leave their patients feeling hopeless. And he's just standing there shading and grin with his hand out going, that'll be $4,372.98. Yeah, ain't funny.
Yeah, it just hurts.
It just America.
Yeah,
Whoa.
just America. Just America.
Yeah, front of the show once again, Blunts and Bongs. Post a picture of Post Malone just looking like hammered dog shit. And it just says, sometimes I hit my dab pen 7 times in a row forgetting it's a fucking dab pen. And now I'm violently high in Walmart. All I'm going to say is hallelujah, brother. Hallelujah.
Tell you what, I'm hearing a lot of warnings about the dab pens.
You've hit mine.
Oh, I forgot.
Yeah.
I just want to point out that was 2 Post Malones. 2 Post
Mhm.
Malones in one show. That's a
Yeah.
new record for Post Malone.
Double posties, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, front of the show, Driana post me at night choosing what's going to keep me up till 4 a.m. and it's a picture of some fingers fiddling through a filing cabinet. All the files are labeled like TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Netflix, Instagram, Snapchat, anxiety, overthinking. Again, I feel this.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Every one of them.
Yep.
Front of the show, Midwest versus everybody at Midwestern Ope. Says date night in the Midwest, and it's the 4 usual suspects: Texas Roadhouse, Applebee's, Chili's, and of course the International House of Carbs, Olive Garden.
This is the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, is what this is.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. The diarrhea clips, at least.
Hey, I love every one of those restaurants. You can kiss my butt.
So listen, if you want an entree in a basket, these are the places you go.
Hell yeah. All right, next up, we got, once again, in front of the show, Blunts and Bongs. It's a little conversation, and it starts off with Merrim Datcher saying, what do people do in the shower for 45 plus minutes? She's responded to by Snoop Dogg at Snoop Dogg, the official DOWG. Friend of the show, friend of mine, friend of the universe. Says, I just sat in the shower for an hour thinking how Mercedes has 3 E's all pronounced differently. And Libertarian says, Snoop has done so much weed, he is on a higher plane of understanding. Snoop, I'm trying, Sensei, to learn your ways, but I have got a long way to smoke. I mean, go.
You'll get there.
I'm working on it.
Doing a great job.
Yeah.
Thank you. Every day this year so far, man. All right, moving on.
There you go.
Finally, a resolution you can keep.
Heck yeah. Friend of the show, once again, Jason Jester posts a picture of probably a late 60s, early 70s looking woman just chugging a bottle of Jägermeister. And it says, if you're at bingo and your date does this, 110% chance you're getting a gummer after.
Oh, my God.
Jesus. Wow.
I mean, who doesn't enjoy a good gummy? You know what I'm saying?
Bro, you got a thing with grandmas and you're projecting.
Oh, sorry, dude.
Moving on.
My therapist warned me about that. Friend of the show, Relatable Pie. If you're not following Relatable Pie, come on, dude. Why do you have internet? Okay. It's just a pile of diced up red onion, and it says, why do we call it red onion when it's quite clearly purple? Been thinking about this for a while and getting quite worked up. I get where they're at. I get where they're at.
That's intriguing. That's true.
Yeah, I mean, it's fucking purple. All right.
All looks the same to me.
What was that?
All looks the same to Michael.
I'm
All
colorblind,
right,
man.
we're almost at the end.
Right.
Just couple more. Here we have Stoner Lad says, you've heard an elf on the shelf. but have you heard of it? It's just Professor Severus Snape standing on a dab pen.
Oh, Snape on a vape.
Also known as a vape. Yeah, you've heard of it on the show.
Snape on a
But you
vape.
heard of Snape on a vape.
That's great.
I dig it. All right, next up, last one we got for this round. 420 Manny, friend of the show. He says, "Where do you see yourself in 30 years?" And it's just this old, kind of crotchety looking granny with a cat, just a long, mangy looking cat snowed up, but she got a joint in her mouth. She got that thing lit, and she is saying, "We're gonna be litty titty, kitty."
Nice.
But yeah, that's my round 3. I'm just
Very
gonna
nice.
be in 30 years, crazy
Round
old
3.
person with animals smoking weed.
Round 3,
Penultimate.
wrapping it up. Friend of the show, Nan, sent me this one from Baby Yoda Official. It says, might be called social media, but all I do is share memes and ignore people. I was like, ouch.
That should be the tagline of the show.
Friend of the show, Cody Woods posts cashier. That'll be 1994. Me pulls out a $50 bill. Cashier. Sorry, we've had a problem with counterfeit bills. Have you got anything smaller? Me pulls out a $25 bill.
That's awesome.
All right, moving on. Friend of the show, Liz Mealy. And if you're not paying attention to Liz Mealy, she's awesome. She thanked me for sharing this meme. She says, my New Year's resolution is to start going to parties I don't want to go to, because every time I ask someone, young or old, how they met their partner, they start with, I went to this party that I really didn't want to go to. Lucky for me, all parties are parties I don't want to go to. I was like, oh, that's so wise. Victims of psychedelic class warfare and MK Ultra shit posting memorial fund making its second appearance in the show. Reposts Elon Musk with the blue check mark. Elon Musk says, hope you're having a great day 1 2023. One thing's for sure, it won't be boring. Brianna Wu replies, you worked hard this year and lost over $200 billion. I believe that this year you will surpass yourself with even worse decisions. Elon Musk replies, thanks for paying me $8, which is, snarky. And then Lauren No at the top comment says, she gave him $8 and he still lost money? Weird.
Yeah. Yeah, the guy just burned his own business, like his own business idea.
Right. Dude, yeah. One thing's for sure, the year won't be boring. You wish it were, Elon. You know you do. All right, well, the big news this week has been the utter humiliation, self-admitted humiliation and shame. I heard people on Fox News saying how ashamed they were of Kevin McCarthy losing vote after vote after vote. Friend of the show, John Connon, said Veruca Salt's dad could better control the Freedom Caucus than Kevin McCarthy. Because he was like, Veruca, come down from that. They had just vote after vote, and there were memes and jokes all the way through. One of my favorites here, Notable Owens, a 4-panel. Panel 1, Terrell Owens. Then we have Jesse Owens. Then we have Owen Wilson. Then we have Owen 6. And it just kept going. On the 9th round, which, by the way, on the 9th round, somebody nominated Donald Trump, and he got 1 vote. So Donald Trump gets a vote for Speaker of the House, which would just be a nightmare. On the 9th vote, I also saw this one. E. Paul Kelly says, there will be a 9th vote. And Count Von Count on Sesame Street is living the dream. 9. And the higher the numbers got, the funnier it got. This one was the standard Drake with the hand up rejection meme, and it's just one rejection. You can see him in this. He's rejecting Kevin McCarthy, and he's rejecting Kevin McCarthy again. Then he's rejecting Kevin McCarthy again. Then he's rejecting Kevin McCarthy again. This is a really, really long meme. Just kept going. And a lot of people were drinking, a lot of people were eating popcorn in the House floor, but Representative Katie Porter is sitting there just reading The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck.
I love you.
And
awesome.
Attorney for Facebook for the Blind says, if you know, you know. She passed it on. Let's see here. Oh my God, I have such a stack. The National Strategic Stockpile of Memes and Satire posts, it's like you sold your soul, but the check bounced, from historian John Meacham on Kevin McCarthy.
God, that's awesome.
Jordan Zakarin posted, and it got reposted a lot. It's funny the Republicans are finally able to rerun an election over and over again, and yet they still can't win.
Mhm.
The Home Alone theme, which I swear to God, they like ripped this off from our show Christmas week. It says House Alone, and we get Kevin McCarthy is playing little Kevin with his hands on his cheeks, and in the background, the two thieves are played by Gates and Gosar, who are two of the most terrible people on the planet, let alone in the house, in case you didn't know. Joe Klosek, friend of the show, says to commemorate the January 6th insurrection of the Congress last year, Republicans in the House of Representatives will do what they wanted to do on that day: stop the government from doing anything. When it got up to 12 votes, I remembered that my favorite song from Sesame Street, 1976, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I found out that was sung by the Pointer Sisters. Stunned. Absolutely stunned. Anyway, but went through my head the whole day of the 12th vote. I thought it was hilarious. Apparently, McCarthy had to go back to Bakersfield, and Bakersfield is ashamed of him too. All of which reminded several people of the Adrian Bott post from years ago that said, "I never thought leopards would eat my face." Sobs a woman who voted for the leopards eating people's faces party.
Yeah.
With just a whole lot of Kevin McCarthy going, "I never thought they'd be mean to me." But it's been pointed out that a party that really is into, dominant chest beating behavior is never going to respect the sub. It's never going to happen. It's not going to happen. Lauren, of course, friend of the show. I'm sorry, not friend of the show, Lauren Boebert. There's a lot of posts about her, and this one was, Lauren Boebert hasn't enjoyed this much influence since her last DUI. Let's see here. We have friend of the show, Randy Rainbow. Randy, thank you for the cards and letters. You are a sweetheart. Randy Rainbow says, Kevin McCarthy is the Susan Lucci of pieces of shit. Very much. Very much. I had to look hard for this, but I knew it existed. You ever know a meme exists before you see it? I looked it up, and here it is. Cartoon of we have Gates dressed as a pimp with a hat that says "Never Kevin." We've got Lauren Boebert dressed as a dominatrix in 6-inch stiletto boots with a riding crop, and we've got Kevin McCarthy in a dog leash on the floor, and he's saying, "I promise I will forever be your love slave." And she says, "Now bark like a seal." And he goes, "Oh, oh, oh, louder." As I said, we don't know what and we're not kink shaming here. We're Lauren shaming. I want to point that out. Yeah, it was just pointed out. I think one of the conditions of the new Congress and the new House rules is that Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert each get to have one of Kevin's balls in their purse at all times. Which basically just leads me on to here. Friend of the show, Bob Stein says, question, talk about the potential for this scenario that has been spreading for some time. Why didn't the GOP work this out ahead of time and avoid this humiliation? And I replied, because they're into it. Because they are. They all want to be shame-fisted on the House floor. I stand by that opinion. There you go. Wrapping up round 3 and only leading to our posts with the most, Michael Moman.
Here we go. Post with the most this week. The recap of a conversation. The therapist says, and what do we do when we feel overwhelmed? Me, disappear entirely into our deepest BDSM fantasies. Therapist, good girl. Me, what? Therapist, what? All I did was retweet this because I thought it was so fucking stupid. And oh my God, Like that it just toes the line just right between like haha kind of gross funny and like deeply unsettling. All right, that's it. That's my post with the most. Let's see what you got, TD.
Alrighty. Well, we've come to the end, folks, and here we go with my post with the most for this week from good friend of the show, Baking Well Baked. Let's be honest, it's me. Baking Well Baked, the show where I make delectable baked goods full of sugar and spice while I'm full of herb and feeling nice. We got a picture here. It's a note taped in the refrigerator. It says, "When sober you wants to ruin the fun for stoned you." And the paper says, "You're not hungry. You're stoned. Shut the door." All I know is after this show, I'm going to the refrigerator.
Dude, that carrot nut cake is calling to me, man. What is that?
Oh.
All right. My post with the most, kind of a cheat. But I gotta tell you what, guys, this is insane. I went to the analytics on my page, and this silly thing I was gonna show you, but I don't have it queued up. All right. This thing has like 10,000 reached and 4,800 engagements. Your 23rd, the song that was #1 on your 23rd birthday is how your 2023 will play out. And it's a picture of a woman in headphones, listening. So anyway, the thing is that on my 23rd birthday, Informer by Snow was #1. And that's funny because I'm a librarian. Informer. Anyway, so that's very dumb, but that was it. And yeah, I got like hundreds, thousands, and queued up this silly thing. Just ridiculous. I don't know. Do you guys know the #1 song on your 23rd birthday? You gotta look. You can't look it up by year. You gotta look up the week. Did you look it up, Mary?
Did. Let It Be.
Let It Be.
Mm-hmm.
Your 2023 is gonna be all right.
Yeah. Here we go.
I think that's a beautiful place to end. That concludes an episode of Facebook for the Blind for January 10th, 2023. Thank you all very much. Hey! Wait, turn it off the recording.
Great show, everybody. I'll talk to you soon.
Love you, Mike.
Love you, George.
And thanks for listening to an episode of Facebook for the Blind. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.